hold on. Okay, go ahead, Jeff.
Okay. Can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Okay, excellent. Hello, EBA, and hello, everyone, and welcome to our conference, Let's Talk Mentorship, and this is our first session, our second annual mentorship conference. So, just a second. Jeff, are we going to move this screen that's sitting in front of me? Okay. Right, so apologies all. I understand you could hear and see us in the background, but I'm pretty sure we weren't saying anything bad. So let's go. So tonight's theme is the value of mentorship. So joining us this evening is BMI's Executive Director, Evangeline Cheema. Our speakers, panelists, and keynote speaker, the Honorable Pam Damoff, Sue Hollis, who is joining us from Australia. Good morning, Sue. Dr. Ekwy Odozor, Naz Nuru, Nnenna Uboma, and Dr. Akiko Campbell. I apologize all. Please correct me if I have not stated your name correctly. Excuse me. So tonight, as we are sitting on the lands of the indigenous peoples, we want to honor the land and territory. Today, as we sit in Halton, as we know it today, Halton is rich in history and the modern traditions of many First Nations and the Métis, from the lands of the Anishinaabe to the Atawandaron, the Haudenosaunee and the Métis. These lands surrounding the Great Lakes are steeped in indigenous history. As we gather today on these treaty lands, we are in solidarity with our indigenous brothers and sisters to honor and respect the four directions: lands, waters, plants, animals, and the ancestors that have walked before us, and all the wonderful elements of creation that exist. We acknowledge and thank the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation for being stewards of this traditional territory, and we recognize the trauma that these indigenous peoples face today. We also want to acknowledge all the traditions and cultures and influences that in their uniqueness, unity, and coexistence result in the unique nation we all share today. At this time, I would like to invite Evangeline Cheema, founder and executive director of Black Menship, Inc., to step up to the podium. Brief introduction, a little longer than before because we have to talk about all the great things that Evangeline and Black Mentorship Inc. have achieved in the last 16 months of its existence. So Evangeline Cheema is the founder of Black Mentorship Inc., an organization dedicated to fostering the professional growth and personal expansion of Black professionals through mentorship, education, and skills building. BMI was born out of Evangeline's own personal experiences with systemic racism and bias as a Black professional woman in Canada in the information technology industry. Despite having a master's degree and many certifications, Evangeline could not reach her professional aspiration. Out of this experience and with the recognition that Black professionals are underrepresented in leadership roles, Evangeline created BMI, Black Mentorship Inc., to inspire and support mentors and mentor Black professionals. So again, in only 16 months, BMI has matched over 30 Black professionals with mentors who can support them to unlock their potential. Some of them sit with us on the screen today. Evangeline has created a framework that ensures every Black person has an opportunity to reach personal and professional empowerment through mentorship, education, and skills building through the organization. Evangeline, in her own personal journey, also provides consultation to Sheridan College executives and academic leadership teams on equity, diversity, and inclusion through the Blacks Initiative program. She also provides mentorship to 16 Sheridan students through Sheridan's college's unique VIP virtual internship program, Innovation Accelerator Stream. And Jonah, who assists with that program, is sitting here today, one of our mentees. Evangeline encourages communities and organizations to embed equity in everything they do, moving the Black Mentorship Inc. platform forward. Evangeline also sits on several boards, including the Learning Disabilities Association of Halton, the Halton Equity and Diversity Roundtable, and HIEX Partnership Advisory Table, and participates in many strategic and planning programs with several organizations. Evangeline has also been named one of the Black women to watch, and she has been nominated for the Women of Inspiration. Evangeline is also a devoted wife and mother of 4 boys. Evangeline, over to you.
Thank you so much, Ingrid. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Hello, everyone. I am so happy to be opening our 2nd annual Black Mentorship Talk Conference. Oh, God. One of my most favorite quotes is Maya Angelou's quote, and it goes, "Do the best you can until you know better. Then when you know better, do better." I believe this quote means that people often make mistakes because they don't know the right way to do something. Once they understand, know better, they can change their actions. When you know better, you do better. And this is how I see the role of a mentor in our lives. A mentor is like a guiding partner that challenges and encourages the mentee to do better, to think through issues and discover hidden qualities of themselves. They serve as a source of wisdom when needed. Our mentoring program involves pairing professionals with mentors who can help them to do better. We pair them based on career aspirations. Our mentors help their mentees to unlock their potentials, expand their network, and be ready for that next opportunity. Our mentoring program allows people from diverse communities to succeed. To advance in your professional career, traditional education is no longer enough. The future of jobs and jobs training has evolved. And who is best to help you keep up in the race? This is the role our mentors play in the lives of professionals they support. When these professionals reach their potentials, the ripple effect transits into the lives of many young people in our community who will have role models, creating lasting impacts for generations to come. With us this evening, our panelists committed to promoting career advancement and diverse leadership. They will share their lived experiences with us and answer any questions you may have. Bring it on. Our panelists, I really thank you for your time and commitment. I know that you are all going to significantly impact every one of us here tonight by sharing your lived experiences and your knowledge and lessons learned. So we thank you. I am exceedingly grateful to you all who joined us. I'm looking at the number and counting is 73 already. Thank you for joining us this evening. Before we go into the panel discussion, we are so honored to have the Honorable Member of Parliament, Oakville North Burlington, Pam Damoff with us this evening. Pam, I really want to thank you for your support. From day one that I reached out to you, Pam, you've been consistent in showing your support. Pam was first elected to the House of Commons in 2015 and was re-elected as a member of Parliament for Oakville North Wellington in October 2019. In her first term, she served as the Parliamentary Secretary to the Minister of Health, as a member of House of Commons Committee on Public Safety and National Security, and as the Vice Chair of the Committee on the Status of Women. In December of 2019, she was named Parliamentary Secretary to the Minister of Indigenous Services. Like I said, Pam has been steadfast in supporting and championing our work here at BMI. Pam understands the value of having representation in leadership and has demonstrated her belief in the power of mentorship through countless hours of mentoring young women and helping them unlock their potentials. Pam, over to you. Thank you.
Well, Evangeline, thank you so much for that introduction. And thank you for everything that you're doing. I remember when I met Evangeline and she had this vision of what she wanted to do, and to see that vision come to fruition and see the opportunities that have been created because she has created this space for mentorship. It's been incredible. It's just been incredible to see, Evangeline. So I know you'll really enjoy this. Oh, Jonah, your lighting is much better there. So when I got elected, I remember doing a conference on International Women's Day. And one of the things that came up was that young women needed role models to look up to. And sometimes they don't choose careers because they don't see themselves in it. So my office actually developed a program called Young Women in Leadership. And the idea was to partner a mentee with a mentor and give them the opportunity to see a potential career, but more importantly, to meet someone that may be able to guide them through to fulfill their desire if they wanted to be a firefighter or an architect or an accountant or whatever they were looking to do. And obviously during COVID, we weren't able to run that program, but I saw the value of mentorship. Especially with the young women that just from spending a day with someone ended up making a mentor that helped them, guide them through course selection, guided them through opportunities. And it's something that it's not just young people who can benefit from mentorship. It's people starting their careers. It's people who want to advance in their careers. And one of the gaps, which is so amazing what Black Mentorship Inc. is filling, is that diversity of mentorship. Being able to see yourself in a position and have a mentor who has had experiences that are unique to them and they can explain to you. So my experiences are ones that I've experienced, but they're going to be different than someone else. And having Evangeline and Black Mentorship Inc. filling that gap to bring diversity to mentorship, it's so incredibly important. And it's one of the things that our federal government has recognized and is funding. So in the fall economic statement, there was funding for a Black entrepreneurship strategy, which included part of that is mentorship. We've invested in trying to get more diversity onto boards. And part of that, again, is mentorship. If you're going to be sitting on a board of a company or an organization, then you may need a mentor to guide you through that process. Our women's entrepreneurship strategy, we've invested millions of dollars in that. And again, to provide those mentorship opportunities. So certainly our federal government sees the benefits of it and has invested a good deal of funding into it. So I just think it's incredible to see the growth of this organization. And I know you're going to enjoy the session today. And then there's 2 more coming up, I think in August, if I'm not mistaken. But just incredible opportunities to hear from people and really expand what you're able to do. And I hope, Evangeline, that you'll be able to expand your organization as well and be able to bring on board more mentors and really give these opportunities to people to help them succeed in whatever they choose to do. So thank you so much for having me tonight, and all the best for a successful event.
Thank you.
Thank you, Pam. Thank you for your support as always. So moving along, it is now our pleasure to introduce our keynote speaker for the evening. So our keynote speaker, Naz Nuru, is a licensed occupational therapist and currently works for the New York City Department of Education as an OTRL. He also owns his own occupational therapy company named OT Can PC. He's the mind behind PVO Global and attributes his success to the positive vibes only mantra. Oh, that's so great. I love that. Positive vibes only, and the ability to maintain a positive mindset no matter what, connecting to the power of positive thoughts in any situation. He leverages his global platform to positively affect social change and promote social responsibility throughout the world. Positivity is worth more than money. It is a super currency that should be exchanged. I'm also going to say that he comes from a very positive family because Evangeline is his aunt. So,
true.
You know, yeah. So welcome, Naz.
Thank you. That was a hearty welcome. How much do I owe you? I feel like I owe you money. Too much.
We're all about the sharing. Thanks, Naz.
Well, first and foremost, my name is Chinasokwu Nworu, and I like to leave my social media, specifically IG, on all my pages, just so people can follow me. And if they have any questions that can't be answered now, you know, you can follow up and vice versa, because I'm very transparent, very open, and I love to connect with people because, you know, like she said, positive currency, social currency, to me is worth more than money, and I'm always trying to connect. So pushing the envelope of excellence, getting out of your comfort zone. I truly believe mastery or wisdom is on the other side of your comfort zone. You can only make magic, you know, when you're out of your comfort zone. And through mentorship, I feel like you can only, it expedites the process to make that magic. And that's why I think mentorship is extremely important, and why when my aunt told me about this months ago, I agreed, because not only is mentorship important to me, but also being a good mentee and being in a room full of people that feel the same way as me, it was a no-brainer for me to do this. So I can't wait to connect with you guys on a more personal level as I talk. So about me, just real quick, two out of the 4 kids of my auntie Iffy, or Auntie Evangeline, Jamie and Josh, they're my godsons. I love them to death. It's so amazing seeing them as they grow, and just seeing them do all the things I wish I was really good at their age. Seeing them excel at it is just like a blessing. And I just added one to the addition, my young godson Isaiah. So, you know, I take family extremely serious. That's why I have it at the top of my list. I'm also an occupational therapist. I work for the state of New York, and I own my own company called OT Can, and I own a lifestyle company called PVO Global. I won't get too much into it. You could just follow us on Instagram. And before I move on, I'm all about pushing the envelope and making myself better. So the one area that I'm kind of struggling in is not having a presence on LinkedIn. So I'm going to challenge myself to have a better presence on LinkedIn by next year. And as I say that, I want everybody in this room to be thinking on things that they're not really strong at, and how they're going to challenge themselves to be better at it by next year. And during Q&A, I want you guys to tell me, or in the chat, you could put in the chat as it comes to you, you know, Naz, I pledge to be better at XYZ by the end of the year, because I'm really good on Instagram, but I'm not that good on LinkedIn. All right. So what is PVO Global? PVO Global is a collective of 3 enterprising leaders connected by their passion for uplifting Black culture and commitment to social impact. Together, we produce a high-end cause-based events nationally and internationally, promoting positive vibes only. Our last event due to COVID was 2 years ago. Thank God we have another one coming up in August, but that last event was in Chicago, and 800 people came out during NBA All-Star Weekend. The one prior to that was in Ghana during New Year's Eve of 2019, and 2,000 people came out. So that just goes to show the power of positivity, you know? And I just want to continue to move on because I got a lot to talk about and a little bit of time. So the one thing that we do with PVO is we give away about 15% of our profits to our community partners. And we have 4 in total. We just recently added a community partner by the name of Coalition Equity. And they're all about, you know, closing the health and food equity gap between, you know, the poor and the underserved communities within the state of New Jersey. And I live in New Jersey, so when they reached out to me to collaborate with PVO and also become the chairman on their board of directors, I said, I'll do it, of course, because I'm from New Jersey and I'm all about, you know, health and food equity. And not only are they giving out up to like 2,500 hot plates of food a week, you know, to the displaced and, you know, the homeless and so on and so forth, they're ensuring that the food is vegan. They're ensuring that the food is healthy and is not like fried chicken and all of this other foods that, you know, our people have trouble with in regards to our health, you know? So that's one of the community service partners. Distant Relatives, they're in Washington, D.C. They're big on the homeless, giving them haircuts, feeding them, helping them find jobs, so on and so forth. African Health Now is based in Africa, and they're big on helping new mothers in Africa with maternal care packages. And because the death rate of newborn babies, specifically in Nigeria, is the highest in the world, if not the highest, the second highest. And these babies are dying, you know, when they could survive if they were gifted a maternity care box that's worth about $5-6. So we support them. Lastly, Cool Kids, they're based in Harlem, New York. And this program helps inner city kids of Harlem, New York, get off the streets after school. They have programs within STEM, science, technology, engineering, math. They have programs within coding, all free programs, swimming, so on and so forth. They get the kids off the streets and they put them into productive environments so they can be great. So this is where a lot of our focus goes after we make the profit from our events. All right, so that's us in a nutshell. Hopefully, Auntie, you could share my PowerPoint with everyone so they can see, you know, I have them all laid out. Distant Relatives. If you could go to slide 6, I don't know who's controlling the slides, but as I'm talking, I'm going through them. So you can see the haircuts given to the homeless. Slide 7, you can see them giving out food. Slide 8, you can see them taking blood pressure, you know, and then you have young college students in the DC area with positive quotes, you know, keeping everyone's morale high. That's on slide 8. Slide 9, this is when we were in Africa. And that's one of my partners, Chi, giving away a maternity care box. As you could see, there was about 300 mothers that showed up. I cried that day because I've never seen anything like it. African Health Now, slide 10, slide 11. Cool Kids, these are the kids in Harlem, New York I was telling you about. They have an annual Christmas event. So we help sponsor that as well. So that's me in a nutshell. That's PVO in a nutshell. And before I go on, I just want to say that I'm honored, grateful, and privileged These are some of the quotes that I heard growing up as a child. I wasn't the best child, you know. I was pretty troubled, and I lashed out because of it. But these are some quotes that as a 35-year-old man, I still hold on to. And for a long time, I was angry. And I don't know, it's slide 12. I don't know if you guys are there, but for a long time, I held on to it, and I utilized it, you know, through anger to get better. But now I utilize it in a way to mentor others that I see within that age range, you know, and they don't have to be in elementary, middle, high school, college. They could be my peers that I could see have that same trauma as me. You know, as a therapist, I could see it clinically, and I just help them. And the last one, You're Tall and Black, put those books down and pick that ball up from a basketball coach that didn't want me to focus on my studies because I was good at basketball. But in my mind, basketball was just a tool so I could be in school to become that occupational therapist that I wanted to become, and so on and so forth. So it's just interesting what people will tell you. And at this point, like I said, I'm honored, grateful, and privileged to be here because it's been a long journey. So to my journey and where the mentoring piece comes in. My childhood, I already kind of talked about that. And it was troubled days. And around that period, I did not have a mentor, right? And I'm just trying to let you guys know, I don't know if there's any young children to teenagers in this room, but it's very important. It's imperative to develop a mentor as young as, you know, elementary, middle school. Because if I had one at that time, I feel like I wouldn't have had the amount of issues I had. You know, fast forward to when I was an academic advisor at North Carolina Central University, my mentor was the president of the university, Dr. Kevin Rome. And quick story, the way I met him was I was laid off from my job, and my friend, a buddy of mine, Shanks, was going to a conference where Dr. Rome was speaking, and he asked if I wanted to go. And I told him, well, I'm laid off. I'm not working at the time. So I have the time. Let's do it. Let's go. I'll drive. It was in Baltimore, and I lived in New Jersey. I had to move back in with my mom at the time. So my car was janky. I didn't know if it could make it to Baltimore, but I said, I'm gonna go regardless. I get into my car. I drive 15 minutes down the road. My car breaks down. So I have a decision at that point. I could go home because I going to this conference, I wasn't invited. My friend was. So I was just going to go and sleep on his hotel couch and try to network to try to find a job. So I could have been like, you know what? I'm not going to go anymore. I'm just going to stay, you know? But with the little bit of money I had left, mind you, I wasn't working. I got my car towed to a mechanic. He fixed it. And I spent the money that I didn't have. And I continued the journey. Long story short, I was able to meet Dr. Kevin Rome. And I did the research on him, and I impressed him when he gave me 5 minutes to speak to him. And he asked me to send him my resume. And afterwards, he gave me a job on the spot, and I got a job in North Carolina as a community director. And I worked my way up to academic advisors, and I worked my way up to a director, an assistant director. And and throughout that time, Dr. Kevin Rome was my mentor, whether he knew it or not. Every little thing he did, from consistently flying Delta to build up his points and build up his credit. Me as a young Black brother, like, I didn't know about perks like that, you know? So a lot of the things he did without telling me, I followed. You know, the way he conducted himself in a room, the way he dressed, you know, and he looked like me and he talked like me. And he was the president of the university, but not one day did he make it seem as if he was better than me. So that right there is a story about the power of mentorship. Next, moving to New York City. After a while, I got burnt out. Instead of taking a promotion, I moved to New York City to pursue my career in occupational therapy. And my mentor, Dr. Christy Koning, who was the director of the program, became my mentor because she's the one that introduced me to therapy. I hit a wall when I got to New York. When I say I was depressed, that's an understatement. You know, I was in a field, I was in a program where I was the only Black person out of like 70, 80 people, and I've never been in that situation before. You know, so Dr. Christy Koning noticed that my grades were slipping, and she expressed, how about you go and speak to a therapist? And at the time, being a Black man, African man at that, I'm like, therapist, that's taboo. We don't do that, you know, but she kept urging me and urging me and urging me. And then after I did, you know, my world changed. My therapist, who also was a mentor of mine, challenged me to come up with a mantra. And that's how PVO was found. The mantra that I discovered while going to therapy was PVO, positive vibes only. And afterwards, my trajectory went up. I was able to finish, maintain my scholarship, acquire 2 jobs before I graduated, and the rest is history. So, you know, mentors come in all different shapes, sizes. Christy Koning is a white lady, and I love her to death. She was like my mom while I was in OT school. And if it wasn't for her, I swear, I don't think I would have finished. I don't think I would be here right now. I would have failed out, you know, because I just needed someone to talk to and declutter my mind and really replace the negative thoughts with positive thoughts. So, and then Pam, you said something that was really powerful that I want to share. It's not on my notes, but you said it's important for a mentor to look like you. And I really, really took that to heart, because prior to me taking that leap of faith to get my master's degree in health and occupational therapy, which was a science, which is in the sciences. And prior to that, I had never taken a science class a day in my life. I ran into an old basketball teammate of mine from high school that I hadn't seen in like, I don't know, maybe 6, 7, 8 years. And he was doing it. He was an occupational therapist. And I looked at him, Coleman, and he looks like me, played basketball like me, listen to the same music, walks like me, you know, like, so I'm looking at him and I'm like, you do what? You make how much money? You have your own business? You're driving like the newest Mercedes Benz, and he was just genuinely happy with his life. And honestly, you know, where I'm from, you don't really see people genuinely happy, especially Black men, you know? So seeing that fueled me and gave me the confidence to apply. If I didn't see Coleman, there's no way. There's no way. There's no way. And when I got to NYU and saw that I was the only Black person in the program, I held on to the fact that I saw Coleman do it, right? And that's what got me through as well. And I'm getting choked up right now because it's so true. Without him, I wouldn't have done it. So it's very imperative. God bless you, Auntie, for starting this mentorship program, and just pairing Black men with young Black men, or peer-to-peer, or just because it's so important, you know, and I felt that. Lastly, being a mentee is important, or developing mentees is important. As an advisor, and just being in my role, I've developed a lot of mentees over time, and that's the secret of being a great mentor. You know, having a good amount of mentees that are sharp, that will hold you accountable to be great, right? And every now and then you find yourself learning something from the mentee, right? So I keep a good amount of mentees around me at all times. And yeah, that's a secret that a lot of mentors don't know. Let's go. And then going back to the mantra, PVO, I already told you the story behind that. And certain people that don't know what a mantra really is, I have examples of that. Slide 14, Kobe Bryant. I love basketball, I love music, so I have their mantras or their mindset. And Auntie, if you mentioned earlier, Maya Angelou's "Know Better, Do Better." That right there is a mantra. That right there is a mindset as well. And I wrote that down because I'm adding that one to my collection. But these are just certain like mindsets and mantras that I utilize that help me. And I'm like, if it can help me, it can help anybody. So securing the right mentor, slide 15. You have to know your goals, both short-term and long-term. You kind of have to have some sense of direction, you know, before you try to secure a mentor. And if you don't, it's okay. But just be transparent with the person that you want to mentor. Ask the questions, let them know you don't really know what you want to do, and see if they can help you develop that plan. Because a lot of people are busy and they don't like their time being wasted, right? Do the research. I won't read them all, but have an elevator pitch ready. As I was driving my car to Baltimore, the one I spent the money that I didn't have on to meet Dr. Kevin Rome, I was practicing my elevator pitch the whole ride down, 3-hour ride, right? And when I got that opportunity, I was able to speak to him in 5 minutes and eventually land the job, right? So have that elevator pitch mastered, ready, sealed, so you could deliver. Oh yeah, the last one that's my favorite, try to become an asset, right? Like everybody loves a good asset on their team. So if you could find someone you want to mentor and you do the research and you discover what they're missing, there you go. That's your in. I'm going to stay on Dr. Kevin Rome because that's what I'm talking about. When I found out that he wanted to bring a program to Africa, specifically Nigeria, and I already had ties in Nigeria, and he didn't really know how to make that move, what do you think I did? I put together a plan, pitched it to him. He loved it. And they gave me a budget to fly out to Nigeria and see if we could partner up with Imo State University, which is a university from my home state in Nigeria, right? So I figured out how to become an asset to this man. And because I did so, you know, my mentor rewarded me, right? So try to figure out how to become an asset before anything. These are some free mentorship resources that I found online. And then lastly, this is slide 16, my auntie Ekwy Cheema, her mentorship program. But I swear, if you cut my auntie, she's gonna bleed mentorship. This is all she talks about. Oh, like I'm like, auntie, can we talk about something else? No, mentorship is all that. And food, she loves to feed me, so I love you for that. So yeah, hopefully this presentation gets, you know, sent out so you guys could have this. And then this is a question I get a lot. Can your peers serve as mentors? Absolutely. My partners are mentors, and you can go follow them on Instagram to see why. You know, we keep each other sharp. We're great in different areas, and we hold each other accountable, you know? And because of that, they're my mentors and vice versa. So yeah, your peer can clearly be a mentor. And if you feel like your peer can't be a mentor, that's your ego. You got to let that go. Got to let that go. That's ego, that's pride, that's negativity, and I'm positive vibes only. And these are my partners, Chi, Dio, and my man Walu. Auntie, don't look at the bottles. It's slide 18, don't look at the bottles. I don't drink. Okay. Slide 19. And one of the most important mentors in my life is my older brother, Dr. Chinasokwu Nworu. I believe he's going to be on here later on, but a quote he told me growing up was, "Success is the greatest hindrance of progress." And that was profound. And that right there allows me to I still celebrate the wins, but I don't live in the wins. Because when you live in the wins, what's the point? You know, it's like you have to, that's basically your ego, right? That's the past, right? So you got to move on. And I just brought this quote up. I brought my brother up because he's one of my mentors. And that's a quote that has kind of like led me to this path. And that's really about it. Hopefully, you know, my talk was riveting and my story was somewhat not boring. And these are my IG handles, my Instagram, my cell phone number, my email. Please get in contact with me. I would love to talk to each and every one of you guys. God bless. And lastly, if you don't take anything away from me, please take these points. Take mentorship serious. You got to work on it like the same way you work on your physical health, your mental health. You know, be consistent about it. Make yourself an asset and stay positive through it all. Thank you.
Naz, you are phenomenal.
Oh, thank you.
Oh my God, that was excellent.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
So, okay, so sorry for interrupting, but that was amazing. We need to put you out in front of every mentorship program.
Oh,
Evangeline, write that down.
Oh man,
Okay.
See, I gotta pay you more money. That's more money out my budget that I don't have.
Ooh, all good.
Oh, good. Thank you so much for that, Naz. And you are so right. Get your elevator pitch ready. You never know when that opportunity calls, you know. And lastly, what he just said, don't live in your wings. I'll say pause, celebrate, you know,
Yeah.
but don't live in your wings. But moving on, it is time for us to introduce our awesome, impeccable panelists. And in no order at all, I will start with Nnenna Uboma. Nnenna is a mother of three. She works for Social Bank as Director of Risk Analytics. So if you have any risk, just let Nnenna know. Nnenna loves to impact knowledge and to motivate people to go above and beyond. Nnenna, please take, and Nnenna is also my friend. Nnenna, please take a moment and say hi to everybody and tell us why you believe mentorship is important.
Thank you, Eva. Yeah, thank you so much. So, yeah, one thing I love about Eva is that she has so much passion. And when you see somebody who is driving, you know, with passion, then you will know that, you know, there's a lot of selflessness in it. And that's one thing that BMI brings that I really do appreciate. So I'm Nnenna Uboma, like Eva has mentioned. My day work is data analytics. So even though I'm called Director of Risk Analytics, my life is all about data. So when you talk about, you know, business insights and etc. So I like to coach people to go above and beyond. And that is one of the reasons why I started Triple J Consulting, which is an outfit that trains people in data analytics. When I started my career in Canada, I noticed that within the data space, there were no people like me. It was filled up with, you know, a particular set of race. So while I was there, someone encouraged me to, why don't you bring, you know, more people into there? Why don't you focus on, you know, let, you know, Black people know what is in data analytics. It's not too hard. Teach them how to program. And that was when I really started that whole Triple J, and I've been able to, you know, train a lot of people through there, get a lot of them into the data analytics space. I've been able to get a lawyer to actually become an IT analyst, you know, programming in Unix. And those are the things that, you know, have really given me so much value. So that's one of the things that I see as mentoring. For me, I have gained a lot in mentoring. One of the ways that I have gained from a mentor is, you know, putting me on tables where I'm not able to go, and they're able to speak, because I see mentors as people who truly, you know, who truly have a goal to make you succeed. That is the only goal that they're actually working towards, to see you succeed. So you will always see that perspective from them that is always towards your own success. So that's a little about me, and that's how mentorship has really helped me. I see a great value in mentorship, and I do encourage, you know, and I love what BMI is doing. It's all about mentorship. Thank you.
Thank you, Nnenna. Yes, your mentor's primary goal is to help you succeed. Love that. Akiko Campbell. Akiko is a C-suite executive in technology, innovation, and commercialization. I can't even pronounce that. With 20 plus years of experience in enterprise architecture. data science, information security, and software development. Akiko is currently working for EY as a technology consultant. Akiko is also my dear friend, and I was privileged to have Akiko in Life Labs as Chief Information Officer. Thank you, Akiko. Please take a minute and say hi.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for having me tonight. It's an honor to attend this very important meeting. And I've been involved in diversity and overall DEI initiatives throughout my career because I grew up in Japan where STEM education or careers are not encouraged for girls. I don't know, maybe you guys have heard about this ex-prime minister having to step down as the chair of Tokyo Olympics because he said we can't have too many women on the executive committee because the meetings won't end. So anyhow, this was the culture that I was raised in. So naturally, I was very interested in doing mentorship, being involved in mentorship programs especially for I guess, encouraging STEM education for girls. And later on, the past several years, I've been really engaged in a diverse and inclusive workforce. And I met Evangeline at Life Labs. And after we both left Life Labs, Evangeline called me one day and she said she wanted to start this BMI, and I was just so encouraged to support her initiative. And mentorship, in my opinion, is very important because, it's going to be so hard to make my spiel after China, but in one word, in my opinion, mentorship allows you to become a better person. Whether you're a mentor or a mentee, it gives you the opportunity to support others and become a better person. So that's really, in a nutshell, in my opinion, it's the power of mentorship.
Amazing. Thank you, Akiko, for making that brief. Okay, Sue Hollis. Sue Hollis was a corporate heavy hitter with global airlines before stepping into the wide world of entrepreneurship and starting her own travel management company, Travel Age, a company that she has since sold, become a multi-million-dollar business in Australia, with Sue being recognized as one of the top 10 women entrepreneurs in the country. Sue is a writer, a coach, and I must say, Sue is my coach, my mentor, and I've been so fortunate to benefit from her coaching and mentoring and supporting BMI. Sue, please say hi to everybody.
Thanks, Eva. Hello, everybody. I don't think there's too much more that I can kind of add to my bio. But I would just like to add that it has been my absolute honor to have had the opportunity to have worked with Eva and BMI over the last 12 months or so. And it's been a real joy to actually watch mentorship in pure action, watching the difference that Eva and BMI has actually made to lives and continues to make to the lives of Black professional people. Eva asked me what mentorship meant to me, and it's really this simple. I think mentorship is as critical to our success as people, both personally as professionally, as breathing is to our lives. And I welcome the opportunity to spend some time with you today and help you kind of discover what mentorship has actually meant to me and the success that I've had in my life. So thank you.
Thank you, Sue. Moving on, Auntie Ekwy. I think NASA's kind of alluded to that. We're from Nigeria, and when you're from Nigeria, you can't call your elder by their name. So I call Auntie Ekwy Auntie because one, she's older than me, but two, she's she's also like my big sister, and she's also a friend. She's a wife, and she's also a PhD holder. She's an educator, and she is a BMI advisor. Auntie Ekwy, take a moment to say hi.
Hello, everyone. It's really nice to be here. My name is Ekwy Odozor, Dr. Odozor, as you were told. I have been in teaching for the past 23 years, and it's been really an honor and a privilege, and something that I see as an assignment, not human given. I see it as something that I've been given that privilege so that I can bring others along. So I have been with BMI really from onstart, both as an advisor and as a mentor. And such again, I take as a privilege. And I have to say that even though I've been teaching, come September, I will be moving into a vice principal's role, and I'm looking forward to it, right? And as Tom Peter would say, he's a businessman, leaders don't create followers. Effective leaders create more leaders. And that is my own mantra. And I'm gonna repeat it. Leaders don't create followers.
I know.
I'm going to add effective, that's my own word here, create more leaders. And I say that because in many spaces that I have been in as an educator, from university level to K-12, in my position, I always find myself alone. And when I say alone, the only Black woman or the only Black person. And it's not something that I enjoyed. I gotta tell you that. I was never happy being the only one. So I was challenged throughout these many years, challenged to make sure that I do what Tom Peter said. If you would consider yourself a mentor, if you will consider yourself a leader, do not hang on there, just enjoying the space, creating followers to worship you. Rather, bring on more people that will join you, join hands with you as leaders to do what is needed. That summarizes for me what mentorship is all about. Mentorship has incredible benefit, both to the person and to organizations. And I believe that a great mentoring culture is one where there are multiple opportunities for people to pursue personal growth and career objectives. And that is exactly what BMI is doing. And that's why I've enrolled as a mentor and as advisor. As a mentor, I also feel I'm driven by purpose. And while I am involved in mentorship, I am more challenged as I am being engaged. Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Auntie Ekwy. And I love that leaders create more leaders. I can't stress that enough. Leaders create more leaders. I think we should be saying that and singing that and going along with it. But before we proceed, I will let Jeff, remind everybody that we are all here to network and all that. Jeff, go ahead. By the way, Jeff is our volunteer and also a mentee in our program. Jeff.
Hello, everyone. So I just wanted to thank Evangeline for hosting us today, putting this together. Like Dr. Ekwy said, leaders create leaders, and Evangeline has been one for our community for so long now with the impact BMI has made, and I've been a witness to it, and a living testament to the power of mentorship and the value it brings to each and every one of us. So I just want to say thank you, Evangeline, and to all of our attendees as well. Thank you, and please take this time to network and try and connect with as many panelists as you can to help propel your career forward, and just help yourself become a better person by meeting someone that can help you and bring value to you in any way you see fit. I just want to say I'm a living testament to the power of mentorship. Evangeline connected me to a mentor a couple months when I started with BMI. Around February, I got connected with a mentor, and ever since then, I've noticed a significant increase in my confidence, in my ability to network, and the power of my network becoming stronger. I'm a living, like I said, I'm a living testament. I've seen it happen in front of me, the power of mentorship, and I advise all of you to, try and see it for yourselves and reach out, extend the olive branch and try and just put yourself in that position to have a mentor. And don't tell yourself that you're bigger than it or you're better than having a mentor, because everyone can be mentored and receive a positive outcome from it. So I advise you to take this time to please reach out to anyone you can. If you feel that there's a panelist you can connect with that relates to your field, or just anything you feel like you like their personality, I'll say just reach out to them. If you're thinking about it, just do it.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you. Absolutely. And please let us know where you're logging in from, because I know people are logging in from all over the world. I know, I see friends from Nigeria. I know Australia, Vancouver, Toronto, Oakville. Let us know in the chat where you're logging in from and say hi. Jonah, hold your thought. I know that I'm gonna get to you in a minute. I just want to perhaps ask one question and then Jonah will probably get to you. Ingrid, do you want to take it away and ask one questions that we have? And don't forget, sorry everybody, don't forget to keep putting your questions in the Q&A. Once we finish a round questions that we have, we will address any questions that you have. Thank you. Go ahead, Ingrid.
Thank you. So this question we're going to throw out there for any panelists to respond. So achieving inclusion is a top priority for many organizations now. Yet toxic workplace cultures and a lack of cultural sensitivity still exists and can challenge retaining diverse voices. Can you share any ideas based on your lived experience or anything you've seen as a professional, and how we can work through developing better cultural sensitivity and inclusion conversations at work? So how can we do better? Anybody want to try that one?
Yep. Let me start. So what I think that, you can hear me, right?
Yes.
Hi. So I work in Scotiabank, for example, and I know that one of the things that Scotia has been talking about is diversity. They pledge to the Black North initiative. So, but inside the organization, sometimes it looks like, oh, what is happening or versus what is not happening. Is there really that cultural inclusiveness, and how is it happening? But I think that one of the ways to really get involved, which I find out that most times people do not, is actually, being part of the ERG. So being part of those organizations where you can get a representation. So I could give an example about myself. So I joined the Scotia Black Employee Network group, and during Black History Month, they said everybody should put up a video of how the whole talk about George Floyd has affected your life, or what 2021 meant for you as a Black person. So I put a 1-minute video on, and I posted it on the Scotia intranet, which is what most people will not do. But then, because I posted that, a few months after, I was called to now be in a panelist with the Chief Financial Officer to speak about, inclusive and culture. So I think that the more we network, we bring ourselves out. Like, we're always hidden. We bring ourselves out, we start to create impact, and we try to make our culture, our people, our person visible, so that we can be able to make impacts within our organizations. Thank you.
So let me ask a follow-up question. So that was a great example, but what happens if you're afraid to put yourself forward because you're in an organization that is not as open? What do you think, panelists?
I'll answer. And what was the lady's name that answered first?
Nnenna.
Nnenna, that was beautiful, and I agree wholeheartedly with you in regards to that. And just to add a step further, sharing resources. Like someone like myself, I truly don't believe it's my job or my duty to educate every white person about what's going on within our culture, or just other people that's within my culture, because I'm going to become exhausted. So what I've done is I've compiled a good amount of resources where I could share those resources with that person that's not understanding the culture. Like, for example, Juneteenth just passed, right? And if anybody doesn't know what Juneteenth is a celebration of the independence for Black Americans. We don't really recognize July 4th as the Independence Day because we were technically still slaves 2 years after, July 4th. So we celebrate Juneteenth, and that's become extremely popular within the state or within the country of America. So yeah, I've been getting a lot of questions, and to have to answer all the questions, it's not my job, and it's exhausting. So I like to share, just share resources, whether it's on YouTube, whether it's on I try to stay away from Facebook, but YouTube and different things that I know are credible sources. That way I'm educating and I'm not burning myself out, and everybody wins, So I hope I answered that next question in regards to, like, I'm not trying to stand on top of a podium and teach everybody. I'm just going to pass you information and keep it moving. And hopefully, that helps, so.
Thank you, Naz.
No problem.
And anybody else have any thoughts they'd like to share? Akiko?
I'd like to share my thoughts.
Yes, go ahead, Ekwy, and then Akiko.
Okay.
Thank you.
So I know it's not easy for some people to step forward and reach out to and ask for help, especially those ones that are dealing with linguistic kind of barriers in certain workspaces, or not even used to the culture of the organization. And in some organizations, when they set up those programs called mentorship programs, it sounds very exclusive. It looks like it's for some people, right? So without repeating what is already said, networking is great, reaching out is wonderful, but it does take some kind of courage to be able to do that. So I'm gonna say that one has to begin with self-reflection. It's so important. You cannot do what you don't understand. You need to be able to go within yourself and actually get to understand who you are, what you need, what your needs are, right? Before you can even begin to look out for where you're gonna get that help. So, and sometimes you might not even know it until you actually talk to someone. It's okay to be vulnerable. It is really okay to be vulnerable. And that being vulnerable means letting somebody else hear your thoughts, letting somebody else know that you are being challenged, letting somebody else know that you're struggling. That's okay. It is one thing that this society needs to teach more, how to allow people to be vulnerable, and it's okay. And once you pick up that courage, or once you understand that it's okay to be vulnerable, then that allows you to begin to reach out and seek help. So you're not feeling the stigma, you're not feeling ashamed, you're not feeling the guilt. And without doing that, you might be still in the same space, not making any kind of headway. So I think it starts with, I'm going to speak very specific about if you're a new immigrant, if you think you have some kind of deficit, whatever it is that you think, you will need to, first of all, check in with yourself and identify where those issues are. Once you are able to come in contact with what your problem is, what is holding you back, then it's possible for you to reach out.
Thank you for that. Yes. So I have a question, and it's Sue. I'm gonna come to you with that, with this question. Skills you need.
Oh, sorry, Evangeline. Akiko had wanted to add something. Sorry.
Go ahead, Akiko. You're mute.
Yeah, just one little point. The leadership teams need to be educated. Leadership teams of major organizations or corporates need to be educated. Otherwise, things don't move as fast as they should. So my idea is, you know, organizations like BMI, very important. And the so-called executives of those corporates should become the mentees of initiatives like BMI, and then they need to be educated. Otherwise, wrong decisions will continue to be made, and things don't just move. So that's just my 2 cents.
Thank you, Akiko.
I hope some of them are here to hear that from
well,
you.
First of all, they need to sponsor you, but
yeah, that's just
get that out. Let's go. Oh. Okay, thank you for that. Moving on, skills you need. Approaches towards identifying competitive advantages. Sue, I have a question for you. How do you mitigate challenge? Our world today, there is so many things that is moving, the evolution of skills. We now work virtually. It's like you master this, then something else comes up that you have to learn. How do you mitigate this challenge to stay competitive?
Thanks, Eva. Well, just I guess reinforcing what Dr. Odozor has said. To me, staying competitive is actually about yourself, and it really is true. I mean, it's the most important thing that we can do to stand out and remain competitive. I mean, to me, there's really just one simple rule, and that it comes back to the investment we're prepared to make in ourselves. Because the bottom line is, the world changes all around us. There will always be someone that's smarter, more educated, more knowledgeable than you. And, to be honest, that's life, and that's okay, because the only person that you're truly competing with is yourself. So to become the best version of yourself personally and professionally, that's how you stand out. So, there really is only one rule for me, and that is to invest in yourself. And I guess there's probably 2 elements to that. There's personal and professional. So from a personal perspective, the first thing for me is actually, number one, is to invest in some really strong daily habits. And that, could look something like getting up early in the morning and really setting yourself up for success. So for me, for example, it's meditation. So even if it's only for a few minutes, that's just to kind of get my mind focused, exercise to get my body moving, and then journaling so I can get some real clarity on what it is that I want to achieve. The second thing for me is really making growth a core value, and committing to your own growth and learning and development really as if your life depends on it, because frankly, it does. There's an old saying that says, we are like a tree. We're either growing or we're dead. And it is that simple. So committing to your own growth and learning and development is fundamental. So become passionate about learning, take courses, get mentors, and at the end of every day, just sit back and say to yourself, what did I learn today? How did I grow? So if you're investing in yourself in those areas, the next part of that to me is then how you change your mindset. So it's really critical that you have a positive growth mindset. So that means, and it's easier to say and hard to do, but the bottom line is, to stay competitive, you really do need to change how you look at the world. So embrace challenges, continue to persist in the face of setbacks. And when you look at some of the things that Naz has experienced, I mean, his story is a perfect example of, firstly, how you kind of step forward into setbacks. And as he demonstrated so beautifully, that you see effort as the path to mastery. So it's about the effort that you put into it. That's what helps you stay competitive. Learn from the feedback. And as the beautiful doctor has mentioned, be vulnerable. Ask for help. The only way we kind of step forward in terms of our own growth is to admit where we need help. And that's really hard to do, particularly when you're starting off as a professional, because you don't want to be seen as not knowing what you're doing, but it's fundamental. And find lessons and inspirations from others. I mean, it's success leaves breadcrumbs, so follow them. So, you know, for me, in terms of how you actually remain competitive, as I said, I mean, it really is about how you invest in yourself, because you have to take responsibility for managing a career. No one else is going to do that for you. And the most effective way that you can ensure that you're competitive and stand out in the world is to actually be the person that you are meant to be. Don't be anybody else, and make the commitment to invest in the incredible, unique self that you are every chance you get. So, long answer, short question, but that to me is how you remain competitive.
Thank you, Sue. So I'm writing down all these quotes. Thank you. They're excellent. So it sounds like we're hearing a theme coming through. So you can't just leave it up to somebody else to help you. You have to start from that resource versus deficit place. So making sure that you're focused on growth, making sure that you're intentional, and that you either set some goals or find some goals along the way to move forward. So Akiko, this one's for you.
Okay.
So in that process, how do you get to a point, especially if in a situation where Dr. Ekwy says, you know, I'm the only Black woman standing here. How do you promote yourself into a world where you may be the only one as a woman and from a different cultural background? How do you promote yourself to, say, put your hand up for a promotion or ask for a raise? How do you do that as part of this process?
How do you do that?
Yep.
Well, actually, what Sue said resonates with me. It's really about investing in yourself. So the first step is have a passion, knowing what you want to do. You know, you need to be able to articulate what you want. And then once, you know, so a good example is people ask for promotion because ultimately they want to join the management rank, right? That's really pretty much the motive. But the reality is when you join management rank, it's people management. It comes with lots of bureaucracy, politics, and all that. And especially if you're in technical field like information technology, some people just love technology. They're passionate about technical skills and, you know, all that kind of. So then you have to really ask, is this what you want? Then if the answer is yes, then you need to understand what values you bring to the table. And then express your values in the context to whoever you're asking the promotion for. And I don't think the background, diverse background really matters in this context. It's really knowing about who you are, what your values are, and then what your passion is.
Thank you, Akiko. So Naz, I'm going to move that question over to you. Okay, so as a young person with all the expertise and experience that you've developed because you found sponsorship and mentorship, if you were walking into that space to put your hand up for a promotion and you didn't have a sponsor or mentor, what do you think you would do? How would you move that forward?
How will I move it forward? I would have to showcase the work I've done in the past. That's very important. You know, we live in a show me society. You know, if you want something, you got to show it, right? So like a lot of the things that I've done in the past that have been successful, you know, I would just kind of take note as I do them. And, you know, if we're talking about like a 9-to-5 job, I would definitely have that job description handy, right? And know what my job description is and make sure that I'm doing each and every bullet point within that description, and not only doing it, but exceeding it. So when it comes time to ask for that promotion, You know, you could talk about how you're hitting all your marks per the job description, and talk about the different projects that you've done, you know, beyond the scope of your job and how they need to pay you more. Like when I was able to bring the president of a university to Nigeria, that wasn't in my job description, but best believe what happened when I got back and it was time to talk about promotions. You know, I talked about that on how, you know, I've essentially transitioned our program in North Carolina into a global program, right? So I was able to get promoted. So yeah, just things like that. It goes back to my former talk. Try to figure out how you can make yourself an asset, take note, and show it. You know, show it and show it with confidence. Because the more confident you talk, and I've learned this throughout my journey, for the many years when I wasn't confident, the difference between someone that's confident versus someone that's not, man, your life would change, you know, and you could be doing the same thing. But if you do it with confidence, you know, your life would be better. So.
Thank you, Naz. So recognize your successes. And, you know, I always tell people, write them down. Yes. So if you're in a program, Jonah, and you are taking care of a program, get that experience on your resume and on LinkedIn. I heard Naz talking about LinkedIn. Get yourself a speaker and promotional sheet that you can attach to your resume, because we often don't recognize our successes. So write them down, people. Over to you, Evangeline.
That is so right. You know, I like when Naz said we are in a society of showing what we got.
Yep.
Got to.
I mean, show off.
Yeah, you got to be your own cheerleader.
Work for it, so why not show off, right? That's, people can call it cocky, whatever they want to call it. That's okay. You worked for it, right? So show off, be confident. Don't be afraid to sell yourself and put yourself out there. And as our world shifts, everything in our world is going, I don't know what word to qualify it. You know, we're seeing the evolution of how we do things differently. Socially, in the workplace, behaviors, everything is different. So Auntie Ekwy, I am going to come to you and ask you, how can we create a culture that encourages people to reach out to anyone? You know, I understand this thing that it's okay to reach out to people that look like you, talk like you, but the truth of the matter is, you know, there are other people, look at Akiko and Sue here, that don't look like me, that have been supporting me, right? So how can people feel comfortable and reach out to people? Talk to us.
I will say that by that question, I believe you mean, how do you create a culture that makes it possible for people to reach out to those who can help them reach their career goals?
Absolutely.
And creating that culture entails recognizing the nature of the problem. In schools, there's something that we always say, you gotta know the learner. Knowing the learner is so important for you to be able to teach that learner. If you don't know the kid in front of you, the child, the student in front of you, you will not be able to reach that student. Same thing applies to individuals. You need to know yourself. And I think I mentioned that before. You need to be able to identify the problem. And once you identify the problem, you name it. You cannot take care of something you haven't named. You have to name it to be able to address it, to be able to dismantle or find a solution to that. Without a name, it's impossible to do that. So creating that culture where people will be comfortable to reach out to other people, I would say we have to be very intentional and very strategic. And saying that, creating that culture involves recognizing the nature of the problem and then adducing ways to solve the problem. So in many organizations, as we know it, people get into workplaces believing that working hard will advance them. simply showing up is enough, or thinking that everyone in the organization is playing on that proverbial, as we say, equal playing field. There's nothing like that. So we need to know it. So it is evident that in workplaces or in workplace cultures in this society, right, that in some instances, it's just people on the higher up mentoring some people, not everyone, right? And I think we'll be dreaming if we think that, or if we say that they're mentoring everyone, including the racialized aspirants. No way. It's not really true. So there are four main ways that I believe that will encourage that kind of culture that we're talking about. And I will name them. Number one, portraying mentorship as a relationship. We need to encourage mentorship as a relationship between the mentor and the mentee. Number two, we need to ensure mentorship availability and continuity. It is not a drive-through, one-stop shopping. The mentors need to be available. The mentees have to be available. And it is a process. It is a process. Number three, we need to promote mentorship as rooted in both personal and professional best practices. So it's not just about getting a job. Somebody said that earlier. It's first of all about making yourself a better human being. It is so important. I know that out here, maybe it's part of our curriculum, K to 12, we teach kids, oh yeah, we want to raise kids who can get out there and contribute to the society. No, no, no. We want to be able to teach kids who can get there and be good human beings, first of all. And then, of course, be able to be productive, right? So mentorship we need to promote as something that you can advance yourself as a human being. And then be good in whatever career you choose to go into. Number four, we need to leverage the things that are already in place, like BMI. It's in place. In our different, workplaces, there are other things that are already in place. We don't need to reinvent the wheel. It's there already. We just have to make them come alive. And somebody mentioned earlier in her workplace, they have a program. We can have many programs, as many as we want, and they're dead. They need to come alive. And now when you hear people talking about, equity, inclusion, everybody's hiring somebody to be equity inclusion officer, well, it's time to start living it. It's time to make it actually come alive. It's time to start counting the outcomes, right? And finally, seeing mentorship as a non-hierarchical, subordinative practice. It is not about top-down. And I know that, Chinasokwu, I think you mentioned that. It is not about top-down. It is not about me knowing more than you. It is about us learning together. It's about us sharing our skills. I can teach you something. You have an asset. Like Chinasokwu said, you too, being a mentee, you are an asset. What do you bring to the table when we're talking? What would you teach me? I don't know it all, right? And I'm going to give my example, real life example, just to finish up what I'm saying here. For many years, I tried to get into leadership in education. And of course, the knowledge was there. The qualifications were all there. All the bells and whistles were there. But I never had a mentor, except for my husband. And then what happened was, several times I tried to get into the space. And of course, I would always be given a reason why I didn't make it, okay? But then, just last year, I had my admin step forward to say, Ekwy, you've done so much. You know so much. But the problem is not what you have done. It is in how you share what you have done, how you articulate it. That is just a problem. Because you think you don't brag, you don't want to brag about who you are. It's time you start bragging about who you are.
I know.
Something, my eyes opened, something just like opened in my mind. I was like, really? It popped. It was like a spark. You need to start bragging about what you have done.
Yes.
That opened the doors for me.
Oh my God.
Being called auntie.
Thank you. Thank you.
I love being called auntie. And it's not because it is the way, again, being a role model within my community that allows me, reminds me every time that as an auntie, it means a helper. As an auntie, it means a counselor. As an auntie, it means a nurturer. And then it means someone who needs to lift other people up to be in the same space, to reach out, to be vulnerable also in my own space. Thank you.
Amazing, amazing.
Beautiful.
Thank you, Dr. Ekwy.
Thank you. Knowing the learner is very important, and everything you said wraps around that. You know, amazing. Shout out to my big sister, Dr. Victoria Nworu. Naz, your mom is showing off. Say, hey, my son.
My mom is my mentor too. And Dr. Ekwy is my new big auntie and my mentor too.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Last question before we go over to the participants' question. And this question is for you, Nnenna. Let's shift a little bit and talk about mid-career professionals, because in our midst today is everybody. We have students, entry-level mid-career professionals. And as you know, there is this, I don't know if I should call it conflicts, navigating mid-career challenges and then cultural sensitivity, you know, and we're talking about inclusion. So achieving inclusion these days is like a top priority. Yet we know there is toxic workplace culture and a lack of that cultural sensitivity and understanding. So can you share any ideas based on your lived experiences, based on the fact that, you know, you're on it, can you share your, somebody's calling you, Nnenna. Help us understand how you've been able to manage or navigate cultural sensitivity and inclusive conversations at work.
So thank you so much. Yeah, so mid-career is one of those careers that, you know, many of us, we seem to be very many in that, within that, you know, space. So you could see the out, like when you look at a histogram, that's where most people end up being there for a very long time. So one thing I have noticed through my own life is that in that mid-career, most of us are very, you know, passionate about work. And then we put so much into work, we become very passion-driven thinking. Just like some other people have said here, that it's work that will take us to that next step. So as important as your work is, it's basically a baseline for you. But understanding the culture of the organization you work in starts to become more of what will take you to that next level. And that's where having mentors starts to become important, because there are many things you don't know about an organization, many do's and don't do's that nobody will ever tell you. It's never written in any book. You do all your trainings, you don't see them there. But when you start to work with people who have been in that organization before you, you will start to learn that there are ways you should do things. There are times that you should not even talk about it. There are times that you should probably not even forget about getting that work done and just probably, you know, collaborate more. And I think that we most times think that, oh, it's the hard work that will take us to that next level. But sincerely, when you're already at the work, what matters most is how you collaborate, how you network, how you understand the culture of the place you are, you know, how you're able to relate with people. irrespective. And when you build a visibility, when you become intentional in it, you will find out that you will easily be picked for certain things. So I'll give you an example of how a mentor has helped me. So I got a mentor in my organization. He's a male and he doesn't look like me, but he accepted to be my mentor. And one good thing about him being my mentor is that we don't talk about my day-to-day work. That is my boss has to do that and coach me about my day-to-day work. But when I have things, like when I have a conflict in front of me and I'm not sure what I should do, I go to him and say, can I have a quick chat? And I'll tell him what the scenario is. He doesn't know those people. So he always tell me, have you thought about this way? Do you think this is why they did it? Oh, look at what happened to me. And this is one thing I regret. I wish I never did. And that has really helped me in terms of how to socialize, how to move ahead. And then most importantly, when there are, discussions coming on, he's able to raise hand for me and say, I think Nnenna would be a good person for this or for that or for that. So I think that, one of the ways to go ahead within a mid-career, because many people are qualified for that same role, for that same position that you're looking for. But what will differentiate you is the sponsors and the mentors that raise hand for you, and also those that give you good perspective on how to collaborate more and network more. And you will see that you'll start getting picked for a lot of things. And from there, you create the visibility that will help you to be tapped for the next role. My boss told me once that, don't I know that for most leadership positions, you are rather tapped, not that you are applied. And that was one thing that I learned, that you don't get the job basically because you applied, you're tapped. So for you to be tapped, it means that you would have, created within that space an inclusive culture for yourself by getting yourself out there. Thank you.
Amazing. Thank you
yes.
so much.
I love that, Nnenna, because it's also about building your brand. What's your own personal brand, right? And that gives you that advantage above everybody else. Okay, so before we move on to the questions, the Q&A, Jonah, do you want to share with us what your mentorship journey has been like and what difference it has made to your career?
Well, first of all, I want to say thank you for giving me this opportunity to speak tonight. I may get a little bit emotional because a lot of people who are on this call have been quite inspirational to me. So Ingrid herself is one of my mentors. And I know Naz mentioned something about, finding people that really inspire you, who look like you, or who will hold you accountable. So I will cite Bob Proctor in how he actually defines a mentor. A mentor to him is someone who sees more talent and ability within someone else than they see in themselves, and then helps bring it out of them. And Ingrid does that for a lot of people that she gets into contact with. And I'll pretty much tie it into a quote from Maya Angelou, where it's like, people will forget what you said, what you did, but they will never forget how you made them feel. And that impact that mentors have on you is profound. So for context, really, here I was, having had five successful years in accounting, and wanted to transition my career into a more human resources related role. So I tried to reach out to different other networks where I would get much more insight, because for anyone that has done a career pivot, is not as easy. So I needed to get that guidance from different people. So mentorship helped create those opportunities. And right now, as I speak, one of the things, again, as part of mentorship is being held accountable. And Ingrid always says, Jonah, you have to pray it forward. And right now I'm working with Evangeline in the virtual internship program with Sheridan College. And I see the impact that makes, because as a student, I'm an international student who came to Canada in 2014. I would have loved to have that option, but I see when I give students that option and just like building them up, giving them that courage that, you know, it can be done. I'm always here. I'm a resource for you. It's so profound. And I think if I went back maybe 6 months ago, I'm a totally different Jonah from that, because like now I'm giving back to other people and supporting other people, and just I like a quotation. So this time I'll go with Oprah Winfrey, where she says, a mentor is really someone who allows you to see the hope inside yourself. And that's what I want to be for other people, whether they're, you know, like even when I work with Evangeline, sometimes like I'm shocked when she's like, Jonah, you inspire me, because we kind of like bounce off each other when we're in those sessions and bring different perspectives. And, you know, and honestly, the students themselves that I've worked with have made mentorship such a big part of my life now, because like you see the impact that you have in their lives, right? And everything that everyone has mentioned on this call has been really profound. And yeah, that really has been my experience thus far, and I continue to help propel all other people to greater success for as long as I will live. I will always be very resourceful. So anyone who's on the call, if you need anything, I'll drop my LinkedIn details and emails just to reach out, and I'll help you where I can. And with that, that's all I have to say tonight.
Amazing, Jonah. Thank you for sharing. Great
Thank
job.
you, Jonah. And somebody also said they really love your shirt.
Yes, I saw that. Okay, let's move on and do a few bit of, we have a few questions here. Ashley Vicher, let me start with that. I'm seeking to move into entrepreneurship. My kids will kill me, I don't know how to pronounce that. And start a healthcare staffing agency, looking to gain government contracts and hopefully gain traction in an area that monopolized and have increased visibility in management and board members. How would I navigate getting noticed and ensuring that the business will flourish? How will she ensure she gets noticed? And anyone can take that. Akiko, go ahead, thank you.
I've been in healthcare too long, so maybe I have a few things that I could add. It's a very, I mean, I'm going to be completely transparent upfront. It's a very difficult industry because people in this industry, they dedicate their lives to this one occupation. So it's very close-knit environment where newcomers are not necessarily welcome. So I'm just, you know, painting the realistic picture. But so how do you, you know, navigate? You absolutely need to develop networks, and then you need to leverage the network. So the starting point is to develop a network of, you know, solid connections, and then try to get to the front of hiring managers or HR departments of major healthcare organizations. It will take you time, but if you know, invest in building a network first, it will pay off eventually. That's my advice.
Thank you so much for that.
Thank you.
Yes. The next question. I'm looking to build my emotional intelligence and be a transformative leader. What tips would you give someone who is trying to elevate career-wise and as a human being? Anybody can take it. Go ahead, Akiko.
Sorry, I don't want to monopolize the conversation, but you know, career or life, in my opinion, career is one of the important achievements in your life. So if you want to be successful in career, you really have to follow your passion. And if you don't follow your passion, career is not different from anything else you do. And so I think if you want to be successful, then find a passion and follow your passion. I think I did. I came here 30 years ago. As I said, I wasn't encouraged to learn STEM, but then I majored in computer science, and I've been very successful in my career development because I followed my passion. So, I mean, just one person's opinion, but it has worked for me.
Amazing. Anybody else want to chip in on that?
Yeah, I just want to add something to it. What I heard was transformative leadership. And I just kind of to point out that there's a little bit of a difference between being a transformational leadership or leader and being a transformative leader. So I would say that it's a great thing, and I think it's doable. Doesn't matter whether you are new to the country or not. But I would say to take time and go and look and actually research the two. To first of all know that what you are talking about is really what you want to do. Like, because that's going to guide your path in whether it's seeking help, in seeking ways to do it. It has a lot to do with social justice. So that's just what I want to add to that. Again, it is doable. And I want to say too that there's apprenticeship is still works, whether we call it apprenticeship, whether we call it co-op, whether we call it, a shadowing, whatever we want to call it. But when you don't know, you want to get into a new area that you're not really familiar with, I think it starts with what I call it volunteering, whatever you call that, but you really have to have that opportunity to learn what is involved in that area. And I think that goes to the first question that was also asked about getting into healthcare. You cannot come from outside without really knowing the nitty-gritty of it to be able to get it, So shadow someone who you think is doing the same thing. You don't have to call it a mentor, but you're learning from someone. You need to learn from someone. So volunteer to get that experience. And I know that volunteering is not very popular with so many people who are new because of needs, right? When people are new to the country, the needs are there. They really want to get to, meeting their own, whether it's social, physical, whatever needs. But starting from the grassroots by having someone teach you, by, being that apprentice, that person that shadowing someone, volunteering someone actually shows you how to do it.
Thank you, Dr. Ekwy. I think Sue
I just want to add only one thing. To be a transformational leader, one skill that you have to really start to learn from the beginning or try to see how to grow is listening. So listening and showing that you care. So one of the great ways that people want to see that you care is through listening. So for you to transform people, for you to transform anybody, even your children, anybody, you have to first of all really show that you can listen and you care through listening. So you listen, you acknowledge what you hear and try to do something about it. So that's one thing that as you volunteer, as you do everything everybody has told you, please build up your skill to listen. Thank you.
Thank you. Sue, you had something to add as well?
Yeah, thanks, Ingrid. I guess I kind of come from the perspective of you don't just have a career, you have a life. And so the person that you are in your life is also the person that you are in your career. So I agree with everything that my colleagues have said. And probably the thing that I would like to add is that in your life, which is in your personal life and in your professional life, one of the most important things for you to do, particularly if you're talking about transformational leadership, is to be very clear on your values. If you understand what your values are, you understand who you are and what you stand for, and you live in your integrity in those values, both in your personal life and in your professional life, that's how you step into transformational leadership.
Your mute, Ingrid.
Thank you, Sue. Do we have any more questions?
I think we have one more.
One more.
Yes. So when you have a large vision, multiple employees, locations, would it be beneficial to register as a small business initially or become incorporated? Anyone?
Well, I'm
not Canadian, so I can't answer.
Yeah. So I'm not sure if we can really answer that question without understanding the background of the business, because, you know, in Canada, it really depends on the type of business, whether it's non-for-profit or entrepreneurial, because, for example, the non-for-profit laws changed this year to segue more to private. So I would say take that question offline and maybe speak to an expert tax lawyer or accountant to help with that one. So thank you for your question. So Sue, we are going to hand over to you for your talk to close us out. Thank you, panelists.
Thanks, Ingrid. So Eva has asked me to speak on today why we need mentors. And I don't know that I can add that much more than my brilliant colleagues have actually contributed to today. But the bottom line for me is that I am a product of mentorship. So about 1,000 years ago, because I am very old, when I was just starting out in my career, I applied for a job that I was overwhelmingly underqualified for and underwhelmingly capable of doing. And to everyone's surprise, and mostly mine, I got the job. And it was a job at the time that I could only describe as being my absolute dream job. And a few months into the job, I actually asked my boss, who was my first most amazing mentor, why had he chosen me, given that I had none, not even one of the qualifications that he wanted for this pretty senior role. And he told me that despite the fact that I had no skills or experience, nothing like kind of getting a little bit of constructive feedback, he said what he saw in me was potential. He saw, as he described it, a big, ugly lump of clay, and he knew that he could mold me into something special. And whilst that may not have been one of the most romantic of descriptions, mold me he did, with generosity, with toughness, with kindness, with harshness sometimes, and with commitment. And I am forever in debt to my first and most amazing mentor. And to be frank, I am where I am here today because he saw me. He truly, truly saw me. And as Jonah has so beautifully said, it's so true what Bob Proctor says, that a mentor is someone who sees more talent and ability in you than you see in yourself. And my life has been inextricably changed because I've been fortunate enough to have had incredible mentors in my life. And these have been people who took a chance on me, who believed in me more than I believed in myself, and people who saw something in me more than I could see. Although I have to think some of my mentors have subsequently had their eyes tested. But that's why we need mentors. Because very, very few of us are actually aware of what we're capable of. But a strong and powerful mentor knows what we can do. And they often put us in situations, if for no other reason than to help us believe in ourselves. And over the course of my career, my mentors have coached and grown me. They've fine-tuned and transformed my vision. They've challenged me. They've certainly pushed me much further than I thought I could ever go. And they've generously shared their life lessons with me. But they've also protected me, and they've stopped me when I've tried to get too close to the fire, or they've helped heal my burns when I've actually fallen in because I've chosen not to listen to their advice. And I have to say, working with mentors, it's not always easy. You know, there've been plenty of times where I have had my butt kicked with tough feedback. But when you trust your mentor, you appreciate that no matter how hard the message is, and believe me, I've had some pretty tough messages, you're receiving those messages because your mentor believes in you. And that's why I guess I say I am a product of mentorship, because without the wisdom, the insight, the trust, and the commitment of key mentors in my life, I honestly doubt that I would have reached the successes and the things that I've achieved in my career. And probably more importantly, I don't think I would have believed in myself enough to have attempted my career. So having someone believe in me more than I believed in myself has really, really helped make a difference in my life. And I guess I've been really fortunate because most of my mentors have seen something in me, goodness knows what, and they have chosen to mentor me. But I guess the question is, what happens if you're not so lucky? So what do you do if you're not being seen or noticed and no one is offering to mentor you? Well, I guess firstly and most importantly, your best option is BMI. So have a chat to Eva and her beautiful team. But if that's not happening to you, if you're not being noticed, so the first option for you to do is then actually just start to shift your philosophy. And a lot of my colleagues have mentioned this today. So you need to shift your philosophy from, if I get a mentor, then I will be successful, to, if I'm successful, then I will get a mentor. And many of my colleagues today have actually talked about that. Show yourself, be brave enough to kind of stand up for yourself, really talk to people about what you've achieved. So change your philosophy. Change your philosophy to, if I succeed, then I will get a mentor. And that means, and we've covered so much of this today, work hard to get noticed. Share ideas for projects. Volunteering. I mean, you know, as we've talked about, it's not necessarily, you know, a popular thing to do, but my goodness, it makes a difference. Volunteer. And if you're not being noticed, make opportunities within your own organization. So for example, if you have a potential mentor that you would like, grab a moment potentially after a meeting, ask for some specific advice, take the advice, follow up with thanks, provide an update, and then use the opportunity for even more advice. And I think the thing is with mentorships is don't get hung up on labels, because mentors are everywhere. And building relationships with people that can help you is actually far more important than forcing a formal mentorship. One of the greatest mentorship opportunities I had was when I started in a role that I knew nothing about. There's a pattern there. And the mentorship that I received was actually from a colleague. So I would buy him lunch, I'd buy him a sandwich every couple of days, and we'd walk. And he would explain the industry to me between bites, and I would listen and ask questions. And the knowledge that he gave me was invaluable, and there wasn't a formal mentorship program in sight. So look for mentors everywhere. And as we've talked about today, that then leads me to remind all of us that no matter what stage we're at in our careers, we can always mentor someone. Never underestimate the value of your input. So make sure we're always continually paying the mentorship gift forward by investing in the people that are coming up behind us, because there is no greater joy knowing that you've made a difference to someone, no matter how small that is. And remember that we rise by lifting each other. So lastly for me, don't just seize mentors in business. So I am CEO of Sue Hollis Incorporated, and as such, I grab mentors in all areas of my life. So I have amazing people around me that mentor me in business, in health and nutrition, in life, in spirituality, for me, motorbike racing as well. So all the important areas of my life, I surround myself with the very best people that I can learn and grow from. And that's why we need mentors. If we are to be the best, we have to continually learn from the best. And to add to everyone's quote list today, one of my favorites from Nnenna is, our life shrinks or expands in proportion to our courage. And so I challenge all of us today, have the courage to find a mentor and watch your life expand beyond anything you ever thought possible. Thank you.
Oh my God, Sue, thank you, thank you.
Thank you so much, Sue. That was excellent.
That was amazing. That was amazing. Oh my God. Trust your mentor, believe in yourself. Mentor gives you wisdom, insight. If you are to be the best, you need somebody, you know, and the list goes on and on. We rise by lifting others. Like, you covered it all. It's been an amazing evening. I cannot thank all of you enough. I cannot thank all of you that joined us enough. And I have to say this, yes, donate to BMI's mission and vision. Go to our website, click, you know, that's how we are able to continue to provide our services and programs, pairing professionals to people that can make them be the best that they can, unlock their potentials, expand their network, grow in their career, all of those. Donate your money, donate your time, sponsor us, you just name it. We really appreciate, and follow us on all of our social media pages, Instagram, LinkedIn, go to our website. Ingrid, what do you think? How has this night or evening impacted you?
I think it's been fabulous. It's been energizing. Thank you so much, panelists, speakers. What a great night. And I love the mentees sharing their stories. Evangeline, people were asking if this is going to be recorded so they can see it again. So yes. So, and the questions and participants chiming in on the chat was also excellent. So an excellent start. I love it.
Yes, and don't forget we have the next one, August 5th, from 6 to 8, and we have on the 19th as well. We have lined up amazing speakers, just like you saw tonight, that is going to share their experience, answer your questions, open to network with you. Don't forget, make sure you've connected to all of our speakers on LinkedIn, Instagram, everywhere. Get their names, follow them. You had them. They talked about mentoring and being open, connect and propel your careers. So don't be shy. Reach out to them. It's been an amazing evening, and I really am blessed to be in front of you. Thank you. Jeff, you can stop sharing. I want to see everybody's face. Jeff, stop sharing the screen. I want to see people's face. Awesome. Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you, Jeff, for sharing your experience, for volunteering. Thank you, Jonah. You know, oh, God, I can't thank all of you. Naz, I'm a proud auntie.
yeah, that was good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Waking up early, you know, and all of you, I saw people logging in from California, Nigeria, Virginia, New Jersey, Toronto, Oakville, yes, Vancouver, you know, people, Milton, Vaughan, people logged in from all over the place and all over the world, and we are so happy that you chose to spend your evening with us. Thank you. Don't forget, give back, pay it forward. Until then, cheers.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you. So are you going back to sleep? All right. Thank you, everybody.
Good night.
Good night. Take care.
Good morning. Okay.